All right, when the scapegoat awakens. And this is a pivotal point for the narc and the scapegoat, because this is the beginning of the end for the narc. Because if you've ever been a scapegoat and you've grown up in that family dynamic, and that's been your whole life, of just pretty much being the punching bag, the whipping post, whatever, for the narc, and even the rest of the family too. When you wake up, that's when the spell starts to break, and that's when the House of Cards is revealed, because you are the main supply for the narc, and then in turn you become supply for the rest of the family too. And now it's the situation in my family. It was like the narc mom running the show, got everyone against each other, enabler dad, who's like, he's not standing up for the scapegoat son, no way, man, because he wants to be in line with the narc, he's under the spell. And then golden child, younger brother, shit, man, whose side is he on? He's on his own trip. So, the scapegoat really gets the brunt. They're at the bottom of the food chain, and everyone is feeding off of them. And ultimately, you end up carrying that weight. And, from growing up as a scapegoat and just experiencing that for so long, it was like 40 years of that for me. And, my life was just in shambles. It was just, I was a fucking mess. And, once I really, what did it was getting sober, because I was really in escapism for so many years. Since I'd started smoking weed, I was like 15. And then I was, drinking later, and it was just, I could just remain in this altered state, just escaping how awful everything was. And, I was fortunate enough to go no contact, and I had a year where I kicked all the bad habits, and I got sober. And that really was the beginning of it, because when you're sober, you have to feel all your emotions, and you really feel how people treat you. And if you have, a parent, someone you're looking to for guidance, especially when, you're having a super hard time, you're lost in a bottle, or you're going through a bad breakup, or you got drug problems, whatever it may be, ideally that parent is there to help you, to guide you, to give you some support. But in my case, that just wasn't there. It was just kind of hammering and a lot of negativity, and controlling, wanting to really manipulate and control the situation. And you get sober and you're realizing, like, hey, something's not right here. Because before, when I was just chiefed out or drunk or whatever, it was easy to ignore it and just get lost in those highs. And so I never paid it any attention. I could never register it as being weird. But I got sober, and it was like, okay, something's up with this person, man. Like, why? Number one, why do they treat me like shit? And number two, you'd think a parent would have more respect for their child, especially if they stop drinking and smoking weed, and they start getting their life together. But if that's not the case, then why deal with this person? And so that was the reasoning that began to sink in. And it was from that state of sobriety and reasoning and starting to question the behavior and wondering, why the hell is this person treating me this way? That's when you start to ask questions, and you start to think to yourself, and you're like, okay, like, this person, like, this isn't normal behavior. This person must have problems, they must be going through something. And so initially it was approaching it as, I'm concerned for this person, I have empathy for them, because I didn't know anything about narcissistic abuse and narcissism and personality disorders at all. And it was through my sobriety, which led me to question the behavior, which then in turn led me to begin to start to understand and learn about personality disorders. And ultimately it was my empathy that led me to the truth, because that's really what we want here. Is we want awareness of what the hell's going on, and we want to get to the truth of why. Why are we struggling? Why are we having all these problems? Why why do I have so much emotional trauma? I'm trying to crack that code. And when you're sober, you have to deal with it. All those emotions come up. And so it was trying to figure out the personality disorders. And then my wife, I've told this before, she got that Apple News Spotlight thing that comes on your phone, that little thing if you have an iPhone. It was Apple News Spotlight, Narcissism, the Plague of Society or something. And she just read the article and was like, this is like exactly like your mom. And she's like, you got to read this, man. Because I was thinking like, oh, well, we need to help her. We need to get her counseling. We need to do something. Like, I read that article and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is like my whole, what I'm experiencing is, and trying to get to the bottom of this is it. And so then I hit YouTube, like we all do, and I found Dr. Romani. And I'm sure you've seen her videos. I mean, she's got a huge YouTube channel. And, what I liked about it was real systematic with the delivery, and it was real just, it was like simple explanations of personality types and behaviors and all the different kind of breakdowns within the narcissistic relationship. And so, because I learned, we all went through the Western school system, so we learn in that kind of systematic way. And it was easy for me to understand because I was hungry for the knowledge. And man, I was watching those videos and it was like blowing my mind, and I was coming to terms with my entire life. And it was like the fog and the curtains were pulled back and the smoke screen was just clearing. And like I went from fucking scapegoat, who's like tied up out back, just getting like whipped with a stick and like sprayed with the hose, to like now I'm like mountain goat. You cannot catch a mountain goat. I'm like off in the mountains, looking at the valley, like making sure everything's cool. And it was like a complete change for me. And so then, it was kind of like, all right, this is war on the narcs. Because why would somebody want to completely ruin their kid's life? And how could somebody actively make those decisions every single day? And that's what I couldn't understand, because I had given this person so much. Like I had dedicated, like I was just like a dog on a chain for the narcs. Like they're just like, come over now, we need you to do this, or you need to go here, or give me money, or fix this, or go help your brother, or go to your father. Like it was just like nonstop. And when my wife and I had first gotten together, she was observing that behavior, and I was just like their dog on a chain. And like bless her heart, she kind of kept quiet and just let me figure it out and come to it on my own. Because I think it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And that was my situation. And because she experienced narcissism in her life, and so she had this ability. She's a seer, and so she can see things really clearly. And so she knew, give him his time, he'll come around, and let him figure it out on his own. So I'm thankful she did, because I need to process things in my mind to then gain my understanding, and then I can start solving the problem. So of course, you wake up, the scapegoat is released, and that's the house of cards for the narcs. It's over, because you're their main supply. And especially if they're an old ass boomer narc with no friends, and all they have for supply is the scapegoat, who is now bucked and gone, and she's left with two potatoes: the enabler, husband, father, and then the golden child. And it's like, and they're both low energy. I mean, my family, they're potato people. I have the most energy in my family. So of course, they're just always trying to suck me dry. But now I'm out. And now it's like, this is injustice, and we need to shed the light on this, which is of course the wrong thing to do. And I made a video about this. That's not how you take out a narc. But I basically came to the conclusion through trial and error and failing. Yeah, the way you basically completely destroy the narcissist's whole delusional world is it's yourself. You go within. You focus on yourself. You build yourself up, and they can't touch you, man, because ultimately they want possession of you. And if you're the scapegoat, they are used to having full control and possession of you, and you are their main supply. So, that's what I did, and I've remained steadfast in that, and I'm very vocal and honest with people I come into contact with about the relationship I have with my mother. I'm very clear. I'm like, listen, she's a narcissist. I've experienced this abuse my entire life, and I finally woke up to it, and we can have a relationship, but it has to be on mutual respect. That's all I asked, and I told her that. I said, listen, we can communicate and have a relationship. It has to be with mutual respect. They can't have that. They don't understand what that means. And, I've been making a lot of videos about how to deal with the interactions and relating to them. And so, yeah, we're in this, hyper advanced gray rock ninja mode, because we live on their property, so I got to deal with their ass, but we're in like no contact, minimal contact. Only communication goes through the enabler dad. But some results of the scapegoat, well, now the mountain goat, waking up and piecing out, is complete triangulation. So, expect this. If you're waking up to this and you're trying to get ahead of it and figure out what's going to go on, they will triangulate anyone they can against you. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I'm completely isolated and alienated from my blood family. Now I have my wife and my children and her family, which we're out here now visiting her family in New York, and it's the polar opposite of my family. It's all cool and love, and we live with them, and we just kick it, and which is like odd to me, because I'm used to the toxic narc just destroying every family gathering we've ever had. And if you're wondering where I'm at, so I'm at Claremont, and it's an estate on the Hudson River. This is the Claremont Mansion, and it's owned by one of the Livingstons. I'm sure you've heard that. Oh, Livingston, I presume. That's these people. So this is one of their many homes. I was at one of their other mansions yesterday. So yeah, it's like, I don't know, a 50-bedroom mansion made out of stone right on the river. Anyway, so I'm here, and it's a park. You can come here and kick it, and they got guys, fixing stuff, driving on the lawn. I'm sure you'll see them driving in a second. Anyway, so expect complete triangulation, and the narcissists will do all they can, because now their world is starting to crumble. And when the narcissists, limited supply, so this is an old boomer narc, and when their supply starts to tank, that's when they start going crazy, and because they know it and they can sense it, and they're going to do all they can to dramatize situations, triangulate people against you. That's when they start sending the flying monkeys, with the poison death spears. But like you're woken up. You're no longer the timid scapegoat tied out front. You're the raging billy goat, mountain goat that lives in the mountains, and like they can't touch you. And so that's the mindset that I have. That's the mindset that you have to have if you have to deal with these people. And so, we can think like, what the hell's going to happen to the nurse? Yeah, she's just going to collapse in on herself, because the older they get, no one wants to deal with her. All her friends are gone. And then, the potato people, yeah, they have no energy, and there's not much that she can get from them. So, I think the key as being the scapegoat, and now you're the mountain goat that just woke up and is energized and free from the yoke of the narc. It's just build on that, man. Like, that's the key, is just keep going. Start building everything that you didn't have the opportunity to, because 40 years of torment, from the narc, it's like you don't have time to build, because you're just in maintaining mode. You're just trying to maintain your sanity, or you're fully, trying to get away from it all, and you're just in a drug-induced state for 24 hours a day. That's kind of how I was. And so now is your time, because the spell is broken, the house of cards has fallen, and you have to strike while the iron is hot. And I've made previous talks and videos about it, is like let go of all that hate that the narcissist injected in you, and just forgive yourself and just start, man, just build it up and just focus on the foundations of life: your mind, your body, and your spirit. And that's just like the building blocks of what will make a prosperous, happy life. And if you can just start there and begin to put energy and time, because that's really what this is all about. We're in this spiritual war with these people, and it boils down, it's energy. That's what these people want. They want energy, and because everyone is born with energy, and now we're in this conflict with these people, and they just want to take your energy. So it's key to put that block in so they can't take your energy anymore ever again, and direct your energy back to yourself. Because then once you start directing your time and your energy back into yourself, that's when you start compounding your growth. And if you just start simple with mind, body, and spirit, and you just want to focus on, just improving those. It's not hard. Just start learning. You've gotten this far. You've woken up from a fucking demonic spell that you were under, for God knows how long. So that's a huge accomplishment. And building up your mind, your body, and your spirit, it just takes time. And it's really just starts with just focusing on yourself. And it's okay. Don't think like, oh, I'm selfish because I'm focusing on myself. No, fuck that. Like, you deserve to take time and focus on yourself. And really, if people took the time to focus on themselves, the world would be a lot better place, if they wanted to actively improve themselves. So you're participating in making the world a better place by making yourself better. And you just try a little bit every day. That's what I do. I just learn, and I try to be a little better every day. And I think the scapegoats, man, are the whole key to this whole war, man, because the scapegoats have the most power. We don't understand it when we're under the spell, but when we get out from under it, we don't realize that we're actually sitting on this kind of like nuclear bomb of power. And once you energize yourself, that's when the narc knows. Like the narc back home, my narc mom, like, she knows it's game over. And so the tide has definitely turned. And all you can do is just keep going and hope that you really hope that the narc just kind of fades. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen, because they don't have you anymore. There's no more dog on a chain. There's no more phone calls. There's no more coming out and yelling at you. Like, those days are done. And you can let go of the guilt too. You don't have to feel guilty. These people literally, they get up every day, they make a decision to actively want to cause chaos and destruction throughout society and throughout people's lives. And they're very cognizant of these decisions that they're making. You have to keep that in mind. Don't think that they're just like, oh, a wandering baby that just can't make, oh, what do I do next? And, oh, I'll just destroy this person. And, oh, let me just topple this family's entire life. No. They are very calculated in what they do, and they're well aware of what they do. Because how the hell can somebody fall asleep at night knowing that they've just completely destroyed someone's life, or they've been destroying someone's life for multiple years? How could you fall asleep at night? Obviously we know, because they don't have the ability to feel empathy or pain for other people. So that's who you're dealing with. And the key is just keep going, man. Keep the energy focused within, and you will build, and you will be stronger for it. I know it for a fact. Trust me. Anyway, well, it's a beautiful day. I think there's some rain coming, so I'm going to shake a leg. But as always, I appreciate your time, and this is a good one. How to destroy the delusional world of the narcissist. The scapegoat rises. All right.